Well, right now we are in the rocking city of Bali, and I have with me Mr. Bharat Rathore. Name sounds like an Indian, but of course he's not an Indian. He's an Australian. He's been staying in Australia for quite some time, and now he's with me at the moment. Let's get straight across to Bharat because he's not only been a tourist, but he stays in Melbourne, and he has been to Bali several times. He's quite an expert in Bali, right, Bharat?
Absolutely. It is a fantastic place. It's home away from home for any Indian. And you feel the vibe of Hinduism and you feel the vibe of the food that's around, the nightlife that's around. And so you feel at home with somewhere going away as well.
Right, that's perfect. But it's quite a nightlife there you have in Bali because you get sleeves, you get all kind of stuff in Bali. Do you think it can be compared somewhere around with Pattaya?
It is not as close to Pattaya in comparison to the conservatism of the government as such. Obviously, with any country or any place where you've got a lot of tourism, you've got a lot of things that are happening around it. So in Pattaya, there's a lot of sexual tourism as well. But in Bali, that happens, but it happens in only close quarters and it's more hush hush than anywhere else in. So it's not as similar to Pattaya as you compare as it is in Bali.
So, as a tourist coming to Bali, what's your advice to them?
So there are multiple places in Bali. So for a person who's looking for love or spirituality, you would go to Ubud, which is they've got a monkey forest and yoga destinations, and you've got multiple places where you could meditate. If you're coming here as a single person to party, you would probably go to Kuta and Legian, or possibly even Seminyak. If you're into water sports, if you're into water sports, you'll go to Nusa Dua. So I guess the only advice I'd give to a person who's coming to Bali is that the traffic is really slow. So to travel 5 kilometers, it takes more than half an hour. So yeah, so be ready for any sort of traffic issues.
And what about expenses and what about the food?
I guess for someone coming from India, especially from that side of the continent, the cost is not as much as different to any part of the world. Like if you go to Goa, you'll spend the same amount of money. What attracts Australians to come to Bali is because it's a less expensive destination in terms of hotels and living expenses. The drinks are almost at par with cost in Australia.
Okay, and what about the food habits here?
Look, the food, because it's got such a huge influence of the Western population, they serve for all sorts of foods in Bali. So, but there's a predominant shift towards veganism and vegetarianism. So, if you go to large parts of Bali, you'd find them publicizing that they sell vegan food and vegetarian food at the moment.
And lastly, is it safe in Bali?
Absolutely. Balinese people are one of the friendliest people in the world. So my advice would be, as far as drink is concerned, they're open to it. As far as travel is concerned, they're open to it. Drugs is a big no-no. So you may find people on the street trying to sell you something. The law is still an Indonesian Sharia law, so please be aware and please stay careful. There will be people on the street trying to sell you Viagra, Cialis, mushrooms, or many other things. So as long as you stay within your community, just like any other destination, it is safe. But the people here usually do not rip you off.
Great. Thank you very much, Bharat, for that
Thank you.
information. And so Bali is safe, it's beautiful, and it's enjoyable. Avijit Nandi Majumdar for ANM News from Bali.
Please don't forget to subscribe our channel and also click the bell icon to get the latest updates.